Stephen Curry, and you're listening to The Morning Roast with Bonte and The Butcher on 95.7 The Game.
All right, so Liv Golf and the PGA Tour merged together. That just got announced. And Shasky, if you can, in a couple minutes before we get to Jose,
explain
break down why this is huge news for the casual golf fans like myself.
Okay, so imagine there's a sports league, right? NBA, Major League Baseball, NFL. And your top dogs, let's use the NBA as an example. LeBron and Steph Curry and, a bunch of other guys, John Morant, decided, you know what, we're going to play in this upstart brand new league in another country, but it's going to be worldwide. We're going to have events all over the world, okay? And we're going to kind of reconfigure. So it's like almost like the Ice Cube 3-on-3 league, right? That's a competing league to the NBA.
The big three.
Yeah, even though most people don't view it as a competitor, but they were throwing around millions of dollars. Right now, Steph Curry's making $50 million, right?
Just look at the USFL and NFL.
Yeah.
In the early 80s. That's the one to look at, I think, when Donald Trump decided to move that league to the fall, and it never came to fruition. But they were competing because Steve Young he went to the LA Express. Jim Kelly went to the Houston Gamblers. Reggie White was with the Memphis Showboats. But they were throwing money around at these players, stealing them out of college, and the NFL's losing out on these marquee names.
Yes, and so let's say Steph's making $50 million this year. Liv offered him $200 million, right? He would get 4 times the guaranteed amount. Now, in other sports, NBA, Major League Baseball in particular, you sign a contract for $200 million, you're getting the $200 million. In the NFL, we all know guaranteed money, right? In golf, you only make what you earn. So if you place in an event, you make the cut, and let's say you finished 40th. Right? You make a percentage of what that purse is, and they break it down. So it's called earnings. So based on how well you're playing, there's an meritocracy to it. That's how much you can make. So Dustin Johnson, for example, signing on the dotted line with another competing league, made like 8 times what he would have made throughout the body of his entire career before even taking a golf shot. So just put yourself in that position. I'm a plumber making $100,000 a year. I don't have to do any plumbing, and I sign on the dotted line right now for the next 5 years, and I'm making, $800,000 over the life of the next 3 years or whatever it is. So this is life-changing money for a lot of these guys. Even though they make a ton of money, there's a guarantee there. And so people like Brooks Koepka, who had a bum knee, said, I don't know if I'm going to be good anymore. I'm going to take the money.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then he said, I felt like I was wandering the desert on a league no one was watching. You saw Bryson. Bryson DeChambeau looked humbled.
Yeah.
He looked like he had not had the spotlight for years.
He looked very humbled. I was like, I almost liked the young man. Almost did. No, 925 Comcast Business Text Line. When Liv came out and they started taking players in the PGA, Shasky was not completely against it. He was actually for Liv Tour, and he actually broke down the Liv Tour, and I was like, whoa, this is fascinating. I like it. And then we found out who ran the Liv Tour and was like, you know what? We're going to back away from that. But the concepts were great. The team aspect, I was all in on that.
Yeah, well, and I still
you were too.
I still don't even think that they've gotten it right. But, like, for example, when the ABA and the NBA merged, the NBA soaked in a couple of their concepts, the three-point line. Right? So when the AFL and the NFL merged, they absorbed some of their concepts, right? And so I'm expecting the team format to continue going. But my question is, all the money that they allocated to all of these guys, how does that work now?
They still get their money, right? It's guaranteed dollars. And the Saudis are probably like, it's already gone. They got plenty of money out there.
No doubt.
They don't care. They're throwing money left and right at everybody.
Well, and in soccer,
left Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I think it's a 3-year, over $600 million deal. Cristiano Ronaldo's making like over $200 a year.
A year?
A year.
Well, and so people are going to say, oh, they're trying to sports wash. Yeah, of course they are. But they're also trying to make themselves be legitimized via sport. And you see this in America, not necessarily in terms of blood money, but you see certain, like Portland, for example. Portland thinks they're a legitimate American city because they have a sports team. Right? And there's something to, hey, we've got the soccer team, we've got the Portland Trailblazers, we're a legitimate sports team. And right now the reverse is happening in Oakland. A lot of Oakland residents are like, we're losing all our sports teams. We're losing what makes us, special and world class, even though there's more to it than that. So they're trying to legitimize themselves not only as a destination, but as someone that other investors will invest in long term, and you do that by having sports.
The NFL took a lot from the USFL. Challenges, the red challenge flag, instant replay.
Going for two?
Was
in that, or am I wrong?
Dancing. No, they took a lot. You watched it 30 for 30.
Oh, it was incredible. Bill Simmons was actually the best you've ever been.
Jeff Pearlman actually wrote a great book on the USFL, some of the stories. It was hilarious. Some of the stories that were coming out of there, checks bouncing left and right, guys racing to the bank to make sure they cash their bank.
Steve Young, he famously
still was getting paid for the LA Express.
Yeah, $2. He had an annuity, and it never reached its fruition.
Jim Kelly, Reggie White, Nate Newton. You had a Herschel Walker. You had a lot of guys. Doug Flutie was in that league. So this is wild stuff in the world of golf. Let's see what happens. They're going to, I guess, rename the PGA Tour and the Liv Tour, and it's going to be named something else.
Well, the PGA Tour has always been kind of confusing. So that we just had the quote-unquote PGA Championship, and that's the Professional Golfers Association for pros, as in teaching pros.
Right.
And so there's always been this confusion. Oh, the PGA Championship is run by the PGA Tour. Two totally different things. Think of the guy you go see to get lessons. That's the PGA Championship, and that's run by the professional guys that teach you the game. Whereas the pros that are on tour, touring pros, are different, even though the words are the same and the analogies are the same.
Dan Wetzel.
What's he say?
Is he still with Yahoo? Dan Wetzel's really good. I like Dan Wetzel. I'm old enough to remember when the PGA Tour tried to claim the moral high road on Liv and the Saudis.
Oh, sounds like something I said immediately. Interesting.
Now I gotta go.
Interesting. Well, what's funny is that, not funny, it's kind of sad, is that everybody was like, oh, the PGA Tour, they're the moral high ground. Dog, the PGA Tour spent like $200 million on a moat and a bridge at their facility because they're a nonprofit entity that doesn't pay taxes. So they can miss me with that when all of us regular schmucks are paying up the wazoo when it comes to taxes.
So it's all about the money, basically. Dirty money, fun money, it doesn't matter. Liv Tour gets what they have. Wow, look at this. Brooks Koepka just tweeted, welfare check on Chambly. Now, what does that mean? Explain that. Who's
so
Chambly?
Brandel Chambly would be like, he's part Skip Bayless of golf, part like Mike Wilbon, where like he holds the past in such high regard, which I appreciate about him. He is a historian, but like he says ridiculous things.
What did he say when they merged?
Well, Brandel Chambly, who's obviously paid by the Golf Channel, who has, I don't know, exclusive television contracts with the PGA. So he's been blasting Liv the entire time. Brandel Chambly, dog, you're conflicted. You're employed by the PGA Tour.
So he just ripped Liv?
Oh, at every turn. Yeah, at every turn. But yet he takes the money from Titleist because he's also a Titleist sponsor. And so, like, dude, I don't know. It's just, I actually like Brandel. I find him hilarious, but I also find him to be fake as hell at times.
So I think he crushed Brooks too.
Oh,
Brooks after he lost the Masters crushed him.
Gotcha.
He said he's not used to playing 4-day events because they were playing 3-day events at the time.
Wow. So will the PGA Tour move, or this new format move? I guess the rules will come out a little later. Will they move to 3 days, or will they remain at 4 days?
Well, I know the one big thing is that no cuts. And like, what is a cut? A cut is half the field loses, gets cut out of it for the weekend. So in this one, there will be no cuts. So let's say, for example, you and I, we want to go to Harding Park. They're going to have a basic, PGA Tour stop at Harding Park. And you and I are like, I can't make Thursday and Friday. We're going to go out on Saturday and Sunday. There's no guarantee that Tiger makes the cut. There's no guarantee that Brooks Koepka makes a cut. So Liv said that's bad for the consumer, which I agree with. And so if you buy a ticket, you kind of want the stars to guarantee themselves spots on the weekend. So and the TV partners want that.
So no matter how bad it is, no matter how bad you play, you can still remain in that tournament.
Exactly.
And the fans get to see you.
And the other thing that I think Liv did that was really good for television, so in a normal championship setting, you have staggered starts. So the guy who's the farthest away from the lead starts off first thing in the morning, and then the guys who are leading start off at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's like a 9-hour broadcast. It's a long day. Liv did shotgun starts, meaning everyone starts on a different hole, and so it's only like a 5-hour broadcast. Right. So for your TV partners, it's a lot easier to build advertisement around 5 hours. So
I can start on hole 5 and finish up
on the fourth hole.
Right, exactly.
You'll go back all the way around. So instead of starting on one, you can start on any hole and finish on any hole.
And it'll get everything done quicker.
Exactly. And now there's action on every hole the whole time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's much better for the consumer.
That's pretty cool. It's
the only sport. It's the only sport, like in basketball, when you're televising it in basketball. I heard this from TV executives that were doing podcasts. In basketball, there's one ball. In football, there's one ball. In baseball, there's one ball. In golf, at any given time, there could be like 25 balls in the air, right? So where do you direct your cameras, right? You know what I mean? So like that's a big problem in golf. How it's presented on TV. Most people, when you say golf, they go, boring. Because of the slow-paced action on TV.
Let's see how many people really tune in or how many people care about this.
I don't know. I think it's a niche sport.
Yeah,
I fully admit it.
Yeah.
It's a niche sport.